All right, before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you. Before we get started, one of our task cards asked about the range. And some people were answering the question and they don't even know what range means. And they didn't ask me what range means, yet they were answering the question just by picking a random answer. It's probably a bad idea. Finding the range, it's of a set of data. So if we had a set of data, 83, 62, 59, 97, 86, 83. Here's our set of data. The range is the biggest number. Subtract the smallest number. Some people were answering that without having any idea what range is. So, Ebola. What's the biggest number up here?
97.
97. Ebola. What's the smallest number up here?
59.
59. So if I were to subtract that, my range would be 38.
Yep.
Biggest number, subtract the smallest number. So you're going to need to know that before you do the task cards. All right. So as I said, we are going to every day until I can get 100% from every single one of you work on adding and subtracting fractions. Today, we're going to work on subtracting fractions. So we're going to do 3 problems. We have 3/4. Subtract 1/8. 3/4 subtract 1/8. Celise, can I subtract those the way they're written?
No.
Why not, Celise?
Because they aren't the same numerator.
They aren't the same denominator. Excellent. So I need to find the least common denominator. Now I know most of you can look at it and tell me what the least common denominator is. I don't care if you can. I want to show the process. So you take the denominators, which are 4 and 8, and I'm going to make like listing the multiples. Right, Alexis? The multiples. So if I went 8, 16, 24, 4, 8, 12. Oh, look. My least common denominator is 8. So I need to change these fractions without changing the value so that they have a denominator of 8. Celise, do either one of those have a denominator of 8 already?
Yes.
Which one?
The bottom one.
Bottom one, so 1/8. Okay? Now I need to change, Celise, I need to change 3/4 so that it has a denominator of 8 without changing the value, which means I need to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. Celise, do you remember what a fraction that equals 1 is?
Uh-huh.
They have the same what?
Same numerator.
Numerator and denominator.
Yep.
Okay? So Celise, let me ask you this. 4 times what equals 8?
2.
2. So we need this fraction to be 2 over 2, because that means I'm multiplying by 1. That means I'm not changing the value, I'm just changing the way it's written. So Celise, 3 times 2 is what?
6.
6. So now I have 6/8. Subtract. I always make sure I look at my sign, especially today, because you're going to have adding and subtracting on your sheet you get today. 6/8 minus 1/8, Celise, is?
0.
Wait. You mean plus?
No, it's minus.
Halving fractions.
Yeah, I know. 6/8 minus 1/8.
5/8.
5/8. Now, Celise already told me that this cannot be simplified, but because you need to know how to simplify, a lot of you got your paper back, the short one we did yesterday, and you left the second answer as 5/10, and I didn't mark it wrong, even though it should be simplified down to 1/2. Starting today, they'll be marked wrong. Do you need to have that thrown in the trash, Alexis? Because I asked you to clear your desk. Thank you. All right, we're going to talk about how you simplify. We simplify by finding the greatest common factor of our numerator and denominator. So, Celise, what are my factors of 5?
1 times 5.
Good. 1 times 5. What else?
That's it.
That's it. Celise, what are my factors of 8?
1 times 8 and 2 times 4.
Awesome. Celise, what's the greatest one that both of these have in common? 1. 1 is my greatest common factor. If 1 is the greatest common factor, then this answer is already simplified and in lowest terms. So the answer to 3/4 subtract 1/8 is 5/8.
Yay.
Let's look at a second one. 1/4 subtract 1/7. Caden, can I subtract those the way they're written?
No.
Why not?
Here's the numerator. Wait, the denominator.
The denominators have to be the same in order to add and subtract. I need to find the least common denominator. What are my denominators, Caden?
4, 8,
Okay, so you're listing the multiples. We have 4, 8,
12,
12,
16, 20. Go on to the next one.
okay, so 7.
17, 14, 21, 28. Oh, look. 35.
Oh, look, 28. So, Caden, I need to change both of these so that they have a denominator of 28. Do either of them have a denominator of 28 already, Caden?
Yes.
Which one? 1/4 or 1/7 already is? No. Okay, so I have to multiply these by a fraction that equals 1, because if you multiply by 1, you don't change the value. So, Caden, 4 times what equals 28? 7. Because 4 times 7 equals 28. 1 times 7 equals what, Caden?
1 times 7 is 7.
7. 7 times what equals 28, Caden?
What?
7 times what equals 28?
4.
4. So what's my numerator?
4.
4, because 1 times 4 equals 4. I always go back and make sure I identify the sign. And Caden, 7 28 subtract 4 28 is?
3.
3 28. Now I'm going to check to see if I can simplify it. And I'm going to check first my factors of 3, which are what, Caden?
3, 6, 9.
Nope, those are multiples. I know you were busy when we were doing the last problem, but what multiplies together to equal 3? 2 times what equals 3?
Nothing.
There's something else. 1 times 3. That is the only factors. We know 1 is going to be a factor of 28. Is 3 a factor of 28? No. 3 times nothing equals 28. That means the only thing they could have in common possibly is 1, meaning 3 28ths is my answer. The difference between 1/4 and 1/7 is 3 28ths. It is, Aiden. I promise you it is. It is. And the last one we're going to look at is 9/10 subtract 1/4. Alexis, thank you. You can put your hand down now. Alexis, can I subtract these fractions how they are?
No.
Why not, Alexis? They do not have a common denominator. So I need to take 10 and 4, list the multiples until I have a common denominator. What do you think the common denominator will be, Alexis? 20 is correct. 10, 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 20 is the first one they have in common. So I need to change these so they're both over 20, Alexis. Are either of them already over 20, Alexis? No, they're not. So what do I multiply by 9/10 so that I get a denominator of 20? 2 over 2. Awesome. And she selected 2 because 10 times 2 is 20. So then what's my numerator, Alexis? 18. And Alexis, I need to multiply 1/4 by a fraction that equals 1. That gives me a denominator of 20. So Alexis, 4 times what is 20? 5. So I have to multiply this by 5/5. What's my numerator? 5. This is subtraction. I always go back and look because the test you're going to have on Monday over adding and subtracting fractions is going to have both addition and subtraction. Why? We're doing it every day this week. We've done it all year.
It's spooky.
Alexis, 18/20 subtract 5/20 is? 13/20. Can you simplify 13/20, Alexis? No. The only factors of 13 are 1 and 13. And 13 isn't a factor of 20, so you can't simplify it. All right, let's erase this because that was 3 of the 6 problems you have on your assignment today. Boom, shakalaka, peace out, God bless, love you. Do something kind today, subscribe, save the bees, please.